Hare Krishna, welcome everybody. So today we are going to cover, we're continuing with Vishwarupa Darshanam. We're going to cover Shlokas 11.32 to 11.37. Before we begin, I'll say the prayers to Guru and God, and I'll also play the Guru Mantra. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. हरे कृष्णा.
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः.
Hare Krishna. So I'll play this local.
Shri Bhagavanuvāca कालोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्तः ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे येव स्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योधाः तस्मात् त्वमुत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहताः पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन् द्रोणं च भीष्मं च जयद्रथं च कर्णं तथान्यानपि योधवीरान् मया हतास्त्वं जहिमा व्यधिष्ठा युध्यस्व चेतासि रणे सपत्नान्. सञ्जय उवाच एतच्छ्रुत्वा वचनं केशवस्य कृताञ्जलिर्वेपमानः किरीटी नमस्कृत्वा भूय एवाह कृष्णं सगद्गदं भीतः प्रणम्य. अर्जुन उवाच स्थाने ऋषिकेश तव प्रकीर्त्या जगत्प्रहृष्यत्यनुरज्यते च रक्षांसि भीतानि दिशो द्रवन्ति सर्वे नमस्यन्ति च सिद्धसङ्घाः कस्माच्च तेन न मेरन्महात्मन् गरीयसे ब्रह्मणोऽप्यादिकर्त्रे अनन्तदेवेश जगन्निवास त्वमक्षरं सदसत्तत्परं यत्.
Hare Krishna. 11.32 The Supreme Lord said, I am mighty time, the source of destruction that comes forth to annihilate the worlds. Even without your participation, all the warriors arrayed in the opposing army shall cease to exist. 11.33 Therefore arise and attain fame and honor. Conquer your foes and enjoy the prosperous kingdom. Consider all these warriors already slain by me. You will only be an instrument of my work, O expert archer. 11.34 Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. So slay them without being disturbed. Just fight and you will vanquish your enemies and be victorious in battle. 11.35 Sanjaya said, Upon hearing these words of Keshava, Krishna, the crowned one, Arjuna, trembling and with folded hands, bowed down again. Greatly frightened, he spoke to Krishna with a choked voice. Arjuna said, It is proper indeed, O Rishikesha, Krishna, that the world delights and rejoices in glorifying you. Terrified demons flee in all directions, and hosts of perfected beings offer obeisances to you. 11.37. And why should they not bow to you, O exalted one, who is greater than Brahma, the original creator, O infinite Lord of gods, O abode of the universe? You are the imperishable truth that is both the cause and effect, and yet transcends them. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Yet another set of profound verses. So, if you have to use just one or two words to describe what was our friend Arjuna's state of mind when we were discussing the previous set of shlokas, anybody wants to try?
He was scared with
Yes, absolutely. He was in fear. So, fear and anxiety.
yeah.
That was his state of mind. Thank you, Ekansh. Ekansh is, I know, extremely busy. He puts 12, 14 hours of work every day and he still manages to focus on the teachings. Very impressive. Thank you, Ekansh ji. Very inspiring. So, in the previous set of shlokas, we saw how Arjuna was feeling so much fear and anxiety, and he's looking at some aspects of the Vishwarupa and he's describing how even the demigods were so scared. You remember, right? We spoke about how Indra and all of that, everybody is in awe. The point is, Krishna never wants us to fear him. No? Because Krishna is always looking forward to having a loving relationship with his devotees. Krishna never wants us to get into the mode of fear. That's not his intent at all. To explain this aspect, I wanted to talk about a story. The story is another Leela of Shri Krishna, very popular Leela. This Leela is called as the Govardhan Leela that Krishna played. But in the Govardhan Leela, everybody focuses on the grandeur of it. But I want to bring out the real beauty of the Leela. So let us go through the Leela now. So, as you know, the people of Braj, very fortunate people, they adored Krishna. Why? Not just because he was beautiful, but also for the sheer joy and love that he brought to their lives. Because for the Brajavasis, Krishna was not the God, but Krishna was their mischievous little friend, the beloved little friend, who played with them, laughed with them, filled their hearts with delight. That is how they saw Krishna. Brajavasis, Krishna always said that he wants people to have no malice. He wants people to have purity and simplicity. So the people he chose to spend this young life with, the Brajavasis, obviously they were all very simple-minded people. Simple-minded, simple-hearted people with very less pride or ego. They were all very blessed people. And each year they would make sacrifices to Lord Indra. Why? Because they believed that, you all know, Indra means he's the king of demigods, but he's also supposed to be the king of Rome. So they used to perform these sacrifices, offer sacrifices to Indra, saying, let our lands always be blessed with rain. But let us now look at Indra. What was Indra's mindset? Indra was very proud. Proud of what? He was very proud of his celestial status. He was very proud that he was the king of gods. And he was also very proud that people are going to me, they are sacrificing things to me and all of that, But Krishna wants to play a Leela, as always. Krishna wants to play a Leela that serves multiple purposes. So very innocently he goes and he's asking the Brajavasis, he's like, why are you all worshipping Indra? And why are you, making all these sacrifices to Indra? Because you are all cowherds. Cowherds means you make a living based on the cattle and where do the cattle get all the food from and water from? He said they are getting all of that from our Govardhan mountain. So why don't you offer sacrifice to Govardhan mountain? That is the one that's feeding you, right? So very innocently he is now shaking up the Brajavasi's thought process. And the Brajavasis give it a thought. They are already in love with Krishna, and his reasoning makes sense to them. They're like, Krishna is right. The Govardhan mountain actually gives us food, so why don't we start sacrificing things to Govardhan mountain and worshipping the Govardhan mountain? So they start doing that now. Now they start offering prayers and sacrifices to the mountain instead of to Indra. Needless to say, how does Indra react? What do you think the first thing happened to Indra? Fragile ego. Even is the king of gods, and still doesn't matter how big you are. If you are still under the control of ego, you are not really a big person. So that's what is happening. Indra, his pride is wounded now. It's like, these people, they used to pray to me, they used to sacrifice things to me, and suddenly now, because this Krishna is telling them something, suddenly they stop that. How dare they do that? I have to teach them a lesson. No, this is his mindset. So what he does, he says, I'll teach them a lesson. How will he teach his lesson? By using whatever power he has. And what power he has power over the rain. So he commands, all the major clouds to come together, and he commands that, pour everything you have, with all the force you have. Now that Leela starts, that whole drama is starting. See, Brajavasis know what rain is. They've seen rain, but they've never seen rain like this. They've never seen clouds so dark. They've never seen thunder and lightning so much, and they've never seen rains that is so forceful. So we are talking about the Leela and the drama that's going on, where they have not seen this kind of clouds and this kind of rain and this kind of force with which the rain is coming. So now they are afraid that their houses are going to get washed by the rain. It's so heavy because Indra is angry, and so they are panicked. And when they are panicked, they run towards the person they have always looked up to, which is Shri Krishna. So they look at him and they are saying, Krishna, can you do something? You told us, go worship Govardhan mountain, and we did that, and see now what is happening. Now can you help us? Now can you protect us? And Krishna is, of course, full of compassion, full of love, and he also has a purpose. I mean, he's the one who started this Leela, correct? And so he has two purposes. One purpose is he wants to test the faith of Brajavasis. He wants to test if they really have faith in him. And the second thing he wants to do is he wants to teach Indra a very important lesson. The lesson of pride. How pride is so harmful. So he has both of these goals, and with that goal, he gently walks towards the Govardhan Hill, and then you know what happened. Divine display of strength. Although he was childlike, Krishna was pretty young when he played this Leela. Although he was childlike, he is commanding the Govardhan mountain to be lifted, and he lifts it with his little finger, and the villagers are totally shocked. They're astonished because they knew that Krishna was very playful, and but they never imagined that Krishna had so much power, like so much power that he can actually lift the mountain. They're all very amazed, but even in all of this amazement, they are still not able to completely grasp the divinity of Krishna, because they are still looking at Krishna as their beloved friend, and how do we, and they are still thinking that our beloved friend is somehow able to perform this kind of a miraculous Leela. You see how their mindset is. How can we envision, or how can we visualize this? See, Krishna is lifting the mountain. Now the mountain has become like an umbrella. So he's holding it with his little finger. And the villagers, the Brajavasis, they're all awestruck by what is going on. But they are still thinking our beloved Krishna has done some miracle. But look at their pure hearts, look at their simple hearts. Many of these cowherd boys who are around Krishna, no, they want to help him. They're like, oh, poor Krishna, he's lifted the mountain with his little finger. We should help him. How are they trying to help him? They are gathering sticks and they are keeping it under the mountain. Because they think that somehow that sticks are going to support the mountain and, help Krishna. See, this is how simple-hearted they were. Do you think the sticks can really hold the mountain? But their mind was so simple. The mind is so pure. For them, it is our beloved friend who is lifting. Let us help him. You see? So beautiful. No, Krishna is smiling to himself because he can feel the love. He can feel the love coming from them and he accepts it. You remember the famous shloka, right? Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. So Krishna is like, even if you offer me a leaf, but you offer it with love, I will accept it. Just like that, Krishna doesn't need those sticks to help him because the sticks are definitely playing no role in helping keep the mountain aloft. But he looks at the bhava of those Brajavasis and he accepts it, accepts the love. That is pure, simple, unadulterated love. So meanwhile, let us come back to our friend Indra now. What's going on? Now Indra sees that what's going on. Indra is like exhausting his powers, and he's beginning to realize the gravity of his mistake. Because that boy Krishna doesn't seem to show any sign of fatigue or any sign of being tired. Now Indra is beginning to get tired because he is now using all his powers. Okay? Now what is happening? You need a cloud for rain, right? I mean, rain, Indra is a god of rain. He is not the lord of the universe. So he still has to abide by the laws of the universe. So if there is no water in the cloud, there cannot be any rain. And the clouds are exhausting all the water they had because Indra was wanting them to go in full force. Now when he sees that now the clouds have exhausted all the water they had, but still nothing has happened here. The villagers are still safe. Brajavasis are still happy. Krishna is still holding the mountain and it looks like he can keep holding the mountain forever. He doesn't seem tired. He doesn't seem not disturbed at all. He's like, yeah, go ahead. Barso jitna barasna. Okay, now here is where Indra's pride starts crumbling. Now Indra realizes, I made a big mistake. It is, although Krishna has taken a human form, Indra now realizes that although it is a human childlike form, he's still the supreme, and in my pride, I had kind of not paid attention to that. I had not, paid respect to that aspect of Krishna. I just looked at him as a child instead of realizing or instead of remembering that he is the divine supreme. So, but now that the pride is gone, now Sad Buddhi comes. Once the pride crumbles, then the real Buddhi comes. Now Indra says, now I have to go and seek forgiveness. But still, it is Indra, the pride doesn't disappear immediately. It doesn't matter how big the lesson. If we are suffering from pride takes its time. That's why it has to be consistent effort, consistently reminding ourselves and consistently working on it. Because now even though pride went a little bit, pride took a hit, Indra wants to come, seek forgiveness, but how he comes? He's alighting, he's now sitting on his elephant, the divine elephant. He still has a crown on his head, and then he's coming down to Braj to seek forgiveness. You see, visualize the scene. You have this white, big, majestic, beautiful elephant. It's called Airavata. And on that elephant, you see this majestic, powerful-looking person, Indra, with a crown. That is the scene. And now he's coming towards this little boy, Krishna, and he's bowing down. He's bowing down and he's seeking forgiveness, profuse apologies. So this is what Indra, now we know what Krishna is doing. He is holding the mountain, he is peacefully smiling. Now what is happening to the Brajavasis? See, the Brajavasis, now they are a bit confused. They are seeing what is going on. They see that this is that powerful Indra to whom we used to offer sacrifices every year. This is the same powerful Indra who is the king of all gods. And he is bowing down and he is seeking forgiveness so profusely to this Krishna. What does this mean? Does it mean that our Krishna is actually a lot more powerful than Indra? Now the Brajavasis are thinking like this now. They are confused. They are trying to understand because they always looked at Krishna as their friend. You know, Krishna was their beloved, their Makanchor, the mischievous boy. And now Indra is coming, Indra in this majestic mountain, you know, all this dramatic entrance, and he is going down and he is profusely apologizing. No, they are totally confused. Now what is happening? Suddenly there is a shift in their heart, the heart of these Brajavasis. Now what is happening? Instead of just the pure, simple love that they had, suddenly their heart is now getting a little bit of fear. Now they are getting a sense of awe, and some fear begins to creep into their minds. Now they are thinking, you know, if even Indra is bowing down, if even Indra is apologizing so much, how are we supposed to approach Krishna? You see their confusion, you see their mindset, their duvida, right? They are looking at this drama and they are like, what is going on now? How are we supposed to approach Krishna? Are we also supposed to bow down? Are we also supposed to, you know, show all this respect? And so awe, fear, all of this, you know, it's creeping in, and Krishna can sense what is going on. Krishna can sense that Indra's pride has gone away, but at the same time, fear has entered the hearts of these Brajavasis who used to look at him so lovingly. And Krishna feels a little sad, you know. And then Krishna turns to Indra. This is the part which is not emphasized too much about this Govardhan Leela, and I wanted to bring it out here. I wanted to highlight it here. This is probably the most beautiful part of the Govardhan Leela, where Krishna is turning to Indra and Krishna says, Indra, look, this is the real damage you have done. He says, that loving relationship we had has vanished. Now they are treating me with fear. See? And he's telling Indra, this is the real damage you have done. See, so beautiful. See how compassionate, how merciful Krishna, and this is what he considers as the real damage. He is least bothered about having to stand with a mountain on his hand for 7 days. That doesn't bother him. What bothers him is now, because of all this drama that Indra did, now the villagers are feeling fear instead of just love. And that bothers Krishna. You know. And then the story goes that Krishna after that invokes his Yoga Maya, because of course he is Mahayogi. So he invokes his Yoga Maya, divine power, and then he's making the villagers forget that part of the drama. He's making them forget that part where Indra came in his majestic elephant and bowed down and sought forgiveness. That part he just erases from their minds, so that now they are back to their loving relationship. They're back to their comfortable relationship with Krishna. So that is what we need to understand. Is the profound lesson is that Krishna is not seeking a formal, distant, fearful relationship from his devotees. You know, see, acknowledging the divinity is important. If you look at the gopis also, the gopis looked at Krishna as their beloved, but they never for a moment forgot the divinity of Krishna. They always knew that he was the supreme, and that is the right approach. So we have to acknowledge the divinity, but we also have to understand that what it truly needs from us is that kind of love. He wants a loving relationship, a love that is simple, pure, and spontaneous, without any schemes, without any malicious intent, you know. That is what is called a Sakhya Bhava, right? So the villagers of Braj, they were able to again enjoy Krishna's company, play with him, feel his love, and so on and so forth, because now the relationship is again coming back to friendship and intimacy. So now they realize his divinity because they saw him lift the mountain and all of that. So they realize the divinity while at the same time maintaining the relationship of love and friendship. That is the key lesson that we have to take away from the Govardhan Leela. That is the relationship we should have with Krishna. Is acknowledge the supremacy, acknowledge his divinity, acknowledge his powerful status. At the same time, understand that he wants to be Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. So we can and we should have a loving, friendly relationship with him. Not a friendly, disrespectful relationship, but a friendly and a loving relationship which also has respect. Very, very important. Possible? You think it's possible, or you think it's possible, right? So I think that's what we need to practice. Okay. So in our Sanatana Dharma, that's one of the reasons why. See, because how do you practice? For practice, you need something to practice on, right? That is why they have, in Sanatana Dharma, they have all this concept of Gurukul and Guru-Sishya relationship, and all of that is meant to train us, meant to give us a way to practice all of this. That is the reason Krishna says, Pariprashnena, Pranipatena, Sevaya, all of that, because that aligns us with how we need to be with Krishna eventually. Because if you are not behaving the right way with Krishna, Krishna is not going to come and tell you. Because that is the whole paradox. Is if you want to have that communication with Krishna, you have to first be in the right relationship. If you have to be in the right relationships, you have to first have the right bhava. Correct? And how will you have a right bhava? To have a right bhava, you practice it. You practice it from childhood. And you practice it with your satsang members, your fellow students. You practice it with your parents, and then you practice it with your guru. So this is the whole construct of Sanatana Dharma, why they have so many guidelines. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now, now we are coming back to our long-time friend Arjuna. So Arjuna is still in fear. Arjuna is still in anxiety. He's shaking. He's shaking. The Mahabaho, no, he's nervous. And then he tells Krishna, he says, "Oh Lord, please be merciful and tell me, who are you really? And what is your purpose?" I'm not able to comprehend it, because Arjuna is like, Krishna was loving, Krishna was charming, Krishna was handsome, and all of this. Suddenly, like, Krishna is so scary, so ferocious, so many heads and fire, and all of these warriors, they are entering his mouth, they are getting crushed, and he is totally, losing his mind. So he's telling Krishna, Krishna, tell me, I'm not able to comprehend. What should I make out of it? Who are you really? Are you this or are you that? So that is what is going on. And now Krishna starts his profound discourse to Arjuna by revealing a fundamental truth of existence, where Krishna is declaring himself to be Kala, the all-powerful time. So Krishna says, Kalosmi loka kshaya kriti. He says, I am time, the great destroyer of the world. See, in this assertion, Krishna is not merely identifying with time the way humans understand it. For humans, time means it is just something we see in a clock. See? So that is a human perception of time. But what Krishna is talking about is time as that terrifying force, that powerful, all-consuming force. Nobody can overpower time. Have you come across anybody who can overpower time? It's not possible. Doesn't matter how powerful. You can be as powerful. King Solomon, doesn't matter. Where are they today? Genghis Khan, where are they today? Alexander, where is he today? So doesn't matter how big, how powerful you become. Time is the all-consuming, all-devouring force. And Krishna is explaining. He's explaining how time is an inevitable, unstoppable force that is going to consume all. And Krishna says time does not discriminate. You may be the mightiest of the mighty, or you can be the tiniest ant. It doesn't matter. Time is impartial. Time is all devouring. It will consume everybody. It will consume everything. It spares nobody. So there is a sloka in the Shvetasvatara Upanishad which starts as Purusha evedam sarvam yad bhutam yaccha bhavyam. That sloka says the Purusha alone is all this. Whatever has been and whatever is yet to be, he is the Lord of immortality. And he is also the Lord of what grows by food. In other words, material sustenance. So the Purusha is termed as the Lord of past, present and future. He is the Lord of immortality. And he is also the bestower of immortality, because unlike other mortals, he is beyond the concept of time. This is something we already discussed. Kala, Desha, all of this, Vastu, Kala, Desha, Vastu, all three limitations, is above all three. So in other words, this mastery or lordship over time is what is being primarily depicted by this Vishwarupa Darshanam, where Krishna is trying to help Arjuna understand, and all of us understand through Arjuna. It's a reminder, the cycle of creation, preservation, destruction, they're all bound by the flow of time. Everything that comes into existence must go away. Everything that is born has to die. It's cyclic. So time is perceived as a relentless force. It is a reminder for us. That is why I always tell you, if anybody says, for example, if somebody says, can you practice humility or can you practice devotion, bhakti, and somebody will say, maybe I'll do it from New Year. or somebody says, I will do it once I'm older. I will do it when I'm 50, This is all not just ignorance, but in a way it is arrogance. Why arrogance? Because somehow you think you have time in your pocket. How dare you assume that even tomorrow is in your hands? How dare you assume that you're going to see tomorrow? How can you make such ridiculous assumptions that I will be alive for the new year, then I will do something good? That is the key lesson. The key lesson is that should keep us in a mode not of fear but of humility, and help us do the right things without hesitation. Help us develop humility now, not tomorrow. Help us develop that kind of love now, not tomorrow. Practice bhakti now, not tomorrow, not New Year, not when I'm 60. You see, very, very important. We have to keep reminding ourselves. And he's also called as Mahakala, not just Kala, Mahakala, the Lord of time. And also he is the one who transcends time. That is why it is Mahakala, beyond all the boundaries, past, present and future. Now in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a sloka. It is in the 3rd canto, 26th chapter. It goes like, Prabhavam Paurusham Prahuha Kalameka Yato Bayam Ahankara Vimudasya Kartuha Prakrutini Yushaha. Some people say that the powerful influence of time causes fear, and that time is the force behind everything. However, for one who is deluded by ego and one who identifies as the doer of actions, it is actually Prakriti that is responsible for actions. See, slightly technical, but there is a reason I am talking about this sloka. I want you to pay attention because you will walk out with something very profound again. So let us continue with the discussion. It's a very deep topic again. The first part of this verse acknowledges that many people, they view time, Kala, as the ultimate force. Now, time is seen as all powerful. Time is seen as that force which is governing the rise and fall of everything in the universe. Now it is very common to also now think that it is time which is responsible for creating fear in us. Correct? It's very logical flow. Because we see that time is going to eventually take my life. And then I'm afraid. And then I can think that it is time that is causing that fear in me. That sounds all logical, correct? But that sloka is trying to tell us what is the actual cause of fear. It is not time. And that is why I'm saying if you pay attention, you'll see how beautifully we can reach that particular line of thought and conclusion. Because that was the first part of the sloka. The second part of the sloka talks about ahankara. Ahankara vimudasya. That was the second part of the sloka. Because the ego, the false identification with the self, where we think I am the doer, I am a doctor, I am curing people, I am a teacher, I am teaching everybody, I am a coach, because of me, people's problems are getting solved. I. That is because of that ahankar. Okay? Now it's a misunderstanding. This is what Krishna says. And also Vedantic philosophy, that's what it says. What does the Vedantic philosophy say? It says that you may think you are an individual self. You see, now the paradox comes here. We all think like, everybody thinks like, I am Smita, or I am Suchita, or I am, Deepa, or Rajesh, or whatever. That makes us feel like we are an individual self. Correct? So Vedanta says, you may think you are an individual self, but you still don't have the independent power to act. That is a very profound aspect. Because you are just an instrument in the hands of Prakriti. That is a very important thing to understand. The verse is clarifying that it is not even your ego, it is not even your ahankara, and it is not your own individual will. That is the cause of all actions. So it's saying that is not the cause of all actions, but rather Prakriti. Prakriti composed of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, that is the force which is animating everything in the universe. In other words, it is the inherent qualities of Prakriti that determine what actions and behaviors an individual performs. So in other words, if you do something good, it is because of the sattvic guna that you had, but you don't own sattva. You don't own guna. That is a property of Prakriti. Just like that, if somebody is being, running behind, say, wealth, that is a very rajasic aspect. So it is the rajoguna that is making them do that. But they don't own rajoguna. The rajoguna doesn't belong to them. That belongs to Prakriti. So if you look at it technically, it is Prakriti that is making them do whatever they are doing, correct? That is the understanding that Krishna and Vedantic philosophy wants us to have. In other words, I am the doer is an illusion. It is not true. No matter what you do, you are not the ultimate doer. So if you remember, there is a reason why I took that particular sloka, Ahankara Vimudasya, because if you remember, there is another sloka in Srimad, the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, where Krishna used a similar word and a similar way of helping us understand, where in the 3rd chapter, 27th verse, Krishna said, Prakruteha kriyamanani guneha karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Where Krishna said, actions in all respects are driven by the modes of nature, but deluded by ego. See, muda means deluded or foolish. Vimuda means utterly deluded or utterly foolish. So Krishna is saying, ahankara vimudatma, like, totally, utterly deluded. They think I am the doer in that mode of delusion, or I am responsible for whatever is going on. We are just an instrument. That should be the bhava. That should be the mindset. If you do something good for somebody, be in the mindset that I did that something good because I have been an instrument in the hands of Prakriti. Prakriti wants to do something good and I just aligned with it. That's all. I just aligned with the goodness of Prakriti, and that is why I am being used as an instrument of goodness. So that way, if you can retrain your thought process, you will stay humble and you will stay aligned with the truth. So, where are we going with all of that? We started with fear, and now we are going somewhere in Vedantic philosophy. Why? Because these two verses that we just discussed, now we will understand based on that fear arises from our lack of understanding of these forces at play. Because when we think we are the doer, when we think we control the outcome, then we are afraid of losing that control. We are afraid of failure. What is failure? Failure means the outcome is not as per your expectation. That is what is failure, correct? Why are you afraid of failure? Because you thought you can control the outcome. So where is the problem? The problem is in your thought that you can control the outcome. That is the cause of failure. That is the cause of fear. Right? So now when we understand and realize that it is actually Prakriti that is governing the actions as well as the results, then you will be able to surrender to the flow of life. Then you can recognize, this is the most profound recognition that you can have from this whole Vishwarupa drama that we went through, is fear is born out of attachment and identification with ego. Fear is not because of Kala. Fear is because of our attachment to ego and our identification with the ego. Now does it make sense why Krishna keeps on beating the, saying, no attachment, no attachment, no attachment, no. See, these are all very profound teachings. Eventually they all come and help us understand this science of the universe. So we have to transcend this ego. Only then we can transcend the being under the control of this illusion. We have to recognize the role of time by understanding that it is Prakriti and not us that is driving actions. Once you have the understanding, you can let go of the false sense of control that we have. And it is that false sense of control that gives rise to fear. For example, the biggest fear of most humans is death. You are afraid that you are going to die. But what is there to fear? You should be afraid only if you think somehow you can prevent it, correct? If you know that everybody dies, if you know that there is nothing you can anyways do, what is the point of that fear? And if you know that you never die, it is just this body that's going to go away, then where is fear? So where is fear coming from? From two things. First, it is coming from your illusion that you can control the outcome. You cannot. What is the second? Your identification with the ego, ahankar. You think you are dying, and that causes fear. But if you know that you are never going to die because you are not this body, then half the problem is gone. And then if you know that even this body you don't control, what is born has to die, then you will be at peace. Then you can align with the flow of the universe. You see the message. So if you again go back, was it time that was making you fearful? No. It was your identification with your ego, and it was your delusional mindset which was causing the fear. That is what we need to really understand, and that is what is going to help us overcome that whole fear and align with the laws of nature. Because you have to accept that we are all instruments. Accept that. Once you accept that, then fear will automatically, gradually go away. So in other words, Krishna's revelation to Arjuna is not just a show of power. It is a lesson in understanding the transient nature of life and the importance of aligning with the eternal truth. Now, that is why we say be truthful. Because if you are not truthful, how can you perceive truth? And our ultimate goal is to align with that absolute truth. So if you have to align with the absolute truth, you have to start being truthful from now onwards. The absolute truth may stand in front of you, but you can perceive it only if you are truthful, no? See, that is the reason why so many things keep repeating in these lessons. So the lesson is through Arjuna, the lesson that is coming to all of humanity is that we need to surrender to the divine will, and we have to perform our duties without attachment. So that is Nishkama Karma. Nishkama Karma means just focus on what you need to do as an instrument. And acknowledge that you are just an instrument. Make sense? Does your car ever get upset that you are going to Mumbai instead of Pune? Have you ever heard any car that is complaining? No. Why? Because the car is an instrument. Its job is to, move. Its job is to carry people, and it is doing it. You see, just like that, we need to be cognizant that we are an instrument, but the car has to still do its job. It has to still carry you. It has to still move. That is rightful action. So just like that, we have to focus on rightful action on what we are supposed to do and not be attached to the outcome, because you are somebody else's instrument. You are the instrument of Prakriti now. Making sense? Now go back to Karmanyavadikaraste and see if it makes more sense now. So after every chapter, I will be taking you back to that verse, because that verse is the most popular. If you ask anybody, do you know Bhagavad Gita? They will very proudly say Karmanyavadikaraste. But then it has so much meaning. It is so deep. You can have so many perspectives built around that. So in continuation, Krishna is telling Arjuna, see, everybody in the battlefield, they are going to get destroyed. He's saying everybody is getting destroyed, except the Pandavas, everybody is getting destroyed. Now why is the Lord telling Arjuna this? Do you think Krishna is telling this to Arjuna to showcase how powerful he is? Was that the intent? No, now go back to the lesson we just learned. In other words, Krishna is telling Arjuna, I don't need you. I don't need you to win the battle. It is not you who is going to help get victory in the battle. The victory is already determined. See, you are just an instrument. And you need to understand that. So once you understand that, you will neither have pride nor will you have fear. Both of them cease to exist, right? Because once Arjuna understands he is not the doer and he is not responsible for the outcome there, because Krishna himself is telling him to do it, then where is their pride? Even if he wins, it is not his. And even if he loses, it is not his. You see the beauty? So one shot you can get rid of two evils. With one shot you can get rid of pride as well as fear. If you can just understand this lesson that Krishna is giving Arjuna. So Krishna tells Arjuna, go get fame and honor by just being an instrument and just participating in this war. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. So Krishna is saying, you will only be an instrument of my work, O expert archer. He uses the word Savyashachi. Savyashachi means an archer, expert archer who can shoot from both hands, using both hands. So Krishna is calling Arjuna Savyashachi because he is also saying it is kind of a meaning content in that. He is saying that you have to do both. You have to do your personal duty as a Kshatriya, warrior. He is reminding Arjuna, you are the great archer. So what is your duty? What is your dharma? And what is your rightful action? It is to now do the duty as a Kshatriya and act without attachment. Know that the outcome is already decided. I just showed you the outcome. So the outcome is already decided. Just do your duty. The message is clear. The outcome is not in Arjuna's hands. But what is in Arjuna's hands? If you are not paying attention, you will say bow and arrow. So what is in Arjuna's hands?
To perform his duty and do his dharma.
Exactly. What is in Arjuna's hands is
to perform rightful action.
Duty. Ekansh, you are saying something?
Yes, Guruji, to perform rightful action.
Exactly. And based on this newfound knowledge, if Arjuna now starts seeing himself as an instrument in the hands of Krishna, then what happens? He can transcend his fear. He can transcend his attachments. See how profound and how beautiful. Like Krishna is not trying. See, this is the difference between this, feel good and you see a lot of. If you go to any bookshop today, one of the biggest sections would be self-help section, where you can find books on how to be happy. But why do you think it never works? Basically because All of those, they are trying to fix the symptoms, or they'll say how to win friends. The guy who wrote the book was himself a loner. So why it doesn't work with all the best intent is because we are all trying to fix the symptoms. Talk like this, look like this, shake hands like this, but we are not addressing the core. We are not addressing the actual cause, and Krishna goes right to the cause. He goes right to the source of all the problems. And that is why this knowledge is so powerful and so transformative. All we have to do is approach it the right way. And if you approach it the right way, transformation is guaranteed. Just like our friend Arjuna is transforming so beautifully. So death is always a certainty. We won't know when it comes. Shakespeare, he said something very famously. He said that the cowards, they die many times. But the valiant, they die only once. The point is, if you are truly brave, you're not afraid of death. But if you're afraid of death, you're dying every day. It is, you're dying of fear every day. So another message is, again, if we just align with rightful action always, then whatever comes is victory for us. Let us not try to control the outcome. Any outcome is prasad from Krishna. Take it that way. And it is the truth. And that keeps us in the right mindset. Because even warriors like Drona, Bhishma, they're all not, where are they? They're all gone, right? So that is the truth. So under these circumstances, the fear in Arjuna's mind was understandable. However, Arjuna had Krishna himself on his side. Krishna himself is his charioteer. So there is this beautiful saying that says that when God is with us, who can be against us? And when God is not with us, who can save us? Both are true. So we all have to keep this in mind while facing all the struggles and battles in our own lives. Let us be with God. Let us be on the side of God. And let us focus on what is rightful action for us. Let go of the attachment to the outcome, not in our hands, not our business. That is the lesson. So even in the spiritual life, we often get discouraged and disheartened because sometimes we are like, oh, I'm not able to handle my anger, I'm not able to handle greed, I'm not able to handle lust, I'm not really able to handle pride and all of that. And with each of these, I can't handle, we get discouraged, and many people, a lot of people start. This is not the first Bhagavad Gita session I'm conducting, right? There are instances where I will have like a group created and maybe hundreds of people signing up. So people are all, it is like New Year resolution where everybody says we have to go to the gym. The 2nd of January usually is the busiest day in the gym, But by the time you come to June, July, it becomes half, and in November, you are probably one of the 10 people in the gym. So people get discouraged. When they get discouraged, they give up. And that is the problem. It's okay to acknowledge that you're not making progress, but it's not okay to feel discouraged and give up, because we should always keep fighting. We have to focus on what is my rightful action. Some people say that if I go to the gym, then next day I should look like, whatever, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I go look in the mirror and I still look like me, and I'm discouraged. See, that how I look is not my business. It is not in my control. It is a fact. Some people, they enter the gym, they just breathe the air of the gym and it looks like their muscles get formed, Whereas some people will go and they will struggle in the gym for months at a stretch and still they feel like nothing is happening. But it's not in their control. They have to understand my job is to get up every day to go and do my workout. Whether it makes me look like Arnold or whether it makes me look like somebody else is not in my control. Once you have that understanding, then you will not give up going to the gym. That is the message here. Same with spirituality. It's okay if you don't think you are making progress. It's okay if you think you are still lustful. It's okay if you think you are still an angry person. But it's your job to keep trying. It's your job to not give up. It's your job to be consistent. The outcome will come when it has to come. Some of you may remember. I want to ask, who remembers one story we had in the past where we saw how one person, Krishna said he will get mukti in one day or one lifetime, whereas for the other person, Krishna said he will take hundreds of lifetimes to get mukti. Okay, we have one person who remembers, two person. Okay, so Sulata raised an entire hand, Suchita raised a hand, Deepali raised just a finger, so maybe she understood. Okay, an entire hand. Okay, Smita ji, you don't remember? I thought you liked that story a lot. Smita Srinivas. No, you don't remember? Okay. Okay. Suchita ji, what do you remember? You want to tell us?
Yeah, means once Narad Muni was crossing somewhere and he came to one person. Narad Muni was going to Krishna.
Yeah, we can say it in the shortcut. Like, what was the gist of that story?
Yeah, means 3 persons were there. So when Narad Muni was coming back from Krishna, so 3 of them asked what Krishna was doing. So Narad Muni says Krishna was passing one elephant from a needle's hole. So one's believe, one doesn't. So the story goes like that. So that belief is the thing. So they were having question when we will give that this thing, liberation.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So basically, one person, the answer comes that you will get liberation in this life itself. One person gets the answer that you will get liberation after hundreds and hundreds of years. But tell me, does that not help us understand that getting when I will get liberation is not in my hand? That is the whole point. The point is we should not try to control that outcome. We should focus on what we are supposed to do. If you keep doing it, maybe your liberation comes next week, who knows? But that cannot be you cannot be attached to that. You cannot say that, it has been 1 week, it has been 2 weeks, I'm still not overcome this, I'm still not overcome that. The question should always be, have I done what I'm supposed to do? If the answer is yes, then you should be peaceful. That is the whole message of that. But if the answer is, I have not done what I need to do, then you should feel a little disappointed. But you have done what you are supposed to do, but the outcome is not what I expected, absolutely no need for any disappointment. That is the whole message. Okay? Because at the end, absolute success will come only by God's grace. That humility has to be there. So Arjuna, after seeing the Vishwarupa, was already in fear, and now after hearing Arjuna's proclamation, see now what is happening to Arjuna. Because Arjuna is not he's also an elevated soul, and he's an intellectual too, because he has read the Vedas and all of that. So he also thinks a lot. So he was in some kind of fear when he saw Krishna's fearful form and all of that. And then now Krishna is telling him that I am Kala, I am that force which nobody can overcome. And Krishna is saying that, I'm going to destroy all these warriors. After this, Arjuna becomes more fearful. Arjuna says, Krishna, I was trying to say that, I'm fearful and you should make me less fearful. Now I'm getting more fearful. But at the same time, he's becoming more humble too. He's developing more humility and he's developing more devotion. He's understanding the person standing in front of me is way more superior than I could ever comprehend. And then he addresses Krishna as Rishikesha. Rishikesha means the master of the senses. Because you remember the same Arjuna had said once in the past. He said that the mind is so turbulent that I think it is easier to control air or hold air in your fist, but it's not easy to control the mind. This is the same Arjuna now calling Krishna as the master of the senses. So that shows how now he's realizing that Krishna is so supreme, way beyond his comprehension. No, and he says, "Oh Rishikesha, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee in all directions." See, there's one sloka, concluding sloka, I'm bringing here for another quick lesson before we conclude. He's saying that the perfected beings or the pure souls, they are paying respectful homage to you. They are in devotion, they are in loving service to you. However, the demons, they seem afraid and they are fleeing in all directions. You see, does it make sense? I mean, does it not sound a little contradictory? Because the demons are the ones who always think that they are very strong people, but they are the ones who seem afraid and they are fleeing, whereas the pure souls who are simple and humble, they are the ones who don't seem to be afraid and they are, paying obeisance to Krishna. So that is what I want to take just 2 more minutes to explain is, if you take, for example, take the example of a knife, a sharp knife, okay? Now let us say a criminal looks at the sharp knife. What are the thoughts that are going to come to the criminal? Hurt, injury, murder. And then what is the emotion that's going to arise in their mind? Obviously fear. You see? So if there is a big sharp knife and if a criminal looks at it, the feeling of fear is natural. Correct? Whereas let us say we have a master chef who has been using a knife to create, tasty food for people and enjoys his job. When that person looks at the knife, fear is not the emotion that's going to come. You see? The knife was the same, but the emotion it generated depended on your gunas. Just like that, looking at that kind of Vishwarupa, the demons could only feel fear. Whereas those who were humble and pure-hearted, they felt devotion. See, yet another way of saying that it is at the end, you are all under the control of your gunas. Make sense? Okay. See, it's a very profound thing. We see the world the way we are, not the way the world is. Very important. The more we internalize this, the more the world can become a friendly place for you or a beautiful place for you. So Arjuna then wonders, why shouldn't all living beings offer their humble respects to the Supreme Lord when the entire universe is created by Him, sustained by Him, and when the entire universe is going to go back into Him? So that is the concluding thought for this set of slokas. And then in the next few verses, Arjuna is going to continue to glorify Krishna for all our benefit and going to bring out all other aspects of Krishna. So let us stay and enjoy the journey. Continue with this journey. So Hare Krishna, thank you so much for your continued support. I hope the audio was okay throughout the session.
Yes, it is good.
Okay, then let me know if you had anything that you want to say. Sandeep ji?
I have a question. So we learned that Prakriti is the force and we are the instrument. How does this free will come into picture in this?
Sandeep ji is saying that I just told that Prakriti is responsible and we are all instruments. But what is free will? Free will basically means you have the right to perform your action. You can perform whatever action you want. That is free will.
Okay.
That is not, we are not denying that at all. We are just saying the outcome is not in your control. So, and the actions that we perform, they will be based on the gunas that are active in us. So there are 3 parts to that. The first part is what kind of actions we are capable of performing. Second part is out of those possibilities, which actions we are actually going to perform. And the third part is what is going to be the outcome of that. So for the first part, what is the set of possible actions we can perform? That is based on our gunas.
Okay.
And the gunas are belonging to Prakriti. Which of those actions you want to perform is your free will, but it is limited. So you get a choice of 100. Out of 100, you pick one. No, that is your free will. But then what is the outcome of that is where again Prakriti comes into place. So the first and the third, the start and the end, they are in the hands of Prakriti only. In the middle, we get a little bit of, room to wiggle, and that we look at as freedom.
Okay, and that is again still driven by guna. The choice
I'm
we
sorry,
make.
I'm having a difficult time hearing you.
Okay. The choice we make is again driven by gunas.
Yes, of course. See, for example, this example I gave long back. Let us say you see a dog. You are on a street, you see a dog. One person will pick a stone and throw at it. One person will kneel down and try to pet it. Why the difference? Because technically both are human beings. Technically, biologically, they're both the same, right?
Sanskara.
The gunas, yeah. The sanskaras are developed based on your gunas. So, sanskaras are basically an impression that is formed by repeated action, and those actions are based on your gunas. So, at the end, it again is gunas.
So, can I continue one more question? Sorry for this. But how does Gunatita come into picture here now?
I'm sorry, I'm still having a difficulty hearing you.
Okay.
Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah. Then there was one more topic called Gunatita. So how does that come into picture when everything is driven by Guna? Once we pass that stage, then there will be nothing, right?
Is anybody else able to hear him clearly?
He's asking, how does Gunatita come into picture? Like, how can we transcend these gunas?
Okay. But that is precisely what we are learning, Sandeep ji. That is what we are learning throughout the Bhagavad Gita. So, Krishna says that first we have to recognize and acknowledge that we are controlled by the gunas. And then we have to be mindful. So, Krishna says, live mindfully. In other words, you have to be aware of the gunas that are active in you. And the next step is we have to always practice and go towards Sattva Guna. That is the next step. So how do we do that? Krishna says always prioritize Shreya over Breya. So every instance, every time you have a choice to make, the choice is whether you choose the comfortable or convenient or whether you choose what is right. The more you align with what is right, Shreya instead of Preya, you are going to go towards Sattva Guna. And then Krishna says once you are in Sattva Guna, then from that point, you have to overcome that also. And you have to raise above that guna. And how to raise that is the whole science of Bhakti Yoga. Because there you cannot do that unless you go into the mode of Bhakti. So that is how this is going to work. It's a stepwise process. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you, Guruji.
No, most welcome. Excellent question, deep questions, and I hope this is all making sense. And you have to really have this conviction that whatever we are learning is going to play a tremendous role in our own transformation, because that is the real goal of our life. The real goal of our life is to get into that transformation and evolve. You don't have to know all 700 shlokas by heart. That's not the goal at all. No, the goal is it helping us evolve? Are we evolving? Are we transcending? Are we transforming? So, Ekansh, you wanted to say something?
No, Guruji. The chapter was really profound. I just missed one line. In the last, you were saying something related to the world. What we see the world. I just missed that line. I just wanted to write it down.
Yeah, we see the world the way we are, not the way the world is.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
It's a very, very powerful statement. You have to sleep over it. You have to introspect it. Then it will make sense.
No, but it made so much sense. I wanted to give this statement to somebody to help them.
Oh my God.
I know somebody. He's very close and dear to me. He's one of my friends. These days, he's very impatient, and I was trying to ask him to just chant any holy name, whatever he likes, because he's always in a mode of ego, and I cannot directly come in front of him and tell him that, bro, this is wrong, it is ego. But I wanted to help him indirectly. I just want to ask Krishna to help him out so that everybody can walk on this path.
Yeah.
I just feel very bad when I see somebody like so much into I don't know, pride and ego, right? It's from it hurts from inside. How like we are. I do remember only one example, like from my heart, that you told. If I'm cheating somebody, I'm cheating myself because I'm the part of the same tree as the same branch. I gave
Exactly.
this example to Aman. He was so much of he was so much happy with the example. It helped him a lot.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Beautiful.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna,
very,
Guruji.
very beautiful. See, for example, if you look at some of these, I'm being careful not to brand anybody, but people who are usually who have violent tendencies. If you see, when they are in public, they will always be very cautious because they're assuming that every other person is going to be violent and do something harmful. So that is where the statement, because they are seeing the world based on who they are, not based on what the world is. It's a very, very important lesson. So this has been repeated, or this has been stated in many other ways by many other people. How the world feels to you, because the world is just a reflection of what you are. Anybody add anything else, or would you like to conclude the
Guruji, I
session
have
then?
last more thing. I don't know. I feel really connected when you give stories. Can you increase more stories in your studies?
Arey,
And I just
unbelievable.
want,
Huh?
Guruji, I just want to add something. What Ekant said, that is very much correct. If you means give us some example with the story, and it's very easy to remember.
Totally. I'll try my best. I'll try to keep adding stories. The point is, I'm also cognizant of the time because we have already taken 20 months and we have just finished 11. When we started, we were 40 people, you know. Today we are hardly 20. And usually, it's not easy for people to stay committed, and I want to strike a balance between that, but I'll definitely try to add more stories. But you have to promise me that you will retain the lessons, because when I ask you how many people remember the story, वो भी याद नहीं रहता है ना. अच्छे अच्छे स्टोरीज बोले हमने इतने सारे, वो स्टोरी अच्छा लगता है, फिर वो लोरी बन जाता है बाद में. यू नो वैसा नहीं होना चाहिए. देन यू हैव टू रिटेन इट, यू हैव टू रिमेम्बर, देन द स्टोरी का फिर मतलब है ना.
नहीं गुरुजी, कई याद रह जाती हैं, थोड़ी बहुत बीच में से निकल भी जाती हैं, बट कई बहुत सारी याद भी हैं, ऐसी बात नहीं है. बट एंड गुरुजी, अब स्टोरीज बताते इतने अच्छे वे से ना, बहुत अच्छी लगती है. आई डोंट नो हाउ इट फील्स सो मच कनेक्टेड
But
एंड सो मच भावा इन दैट.
when you remind us, we remember that we have gone through it.
या
That's
We are all not computer and
No, but you are all doing good also. I think a lot of you are taking efforts, you are remembering things, so I understand not everybody can remember everything, but it's very nice. Today, Minalji also remembered something, and so it's very encouraging that everybody is trying at least. So all I'm trying to say is the story shouldn't just be entertainment. The story, we have to get the message and retain it. And every day we need to try and introspect and see if, for example, simple things like Shreya versus Preya, that is something you can live every day. It's not just a theory. Tomorrow morning, you have to get up. A part of you says, "Arey, it's so cozy, it's so comfortable, let me just," and then your mind will make all excuses. You have been getting up every day, one day is okay, a million things it will tell you. Then you have to tell yourself, is this Shreya or is this Preya? What is Shreya here and what is Preya here? Preya means I continue sleeping. Shreya means I get up and do my meditation or my morning practices or whatever. You see? So that way, a lot of these things, they have to become an everyday thing. You have to ask yourself, is this Shreya, is this Preya, is this Shreya, is this Preya? That way, this is one thing will be internalized. Just like that, like Sandeep ji was asking free will. So tomorrow you are you have an impulse to do something, ask yourself, what is making me want to do this? Question. Okay? Instead of just blindly following your impulse, in a lot of these crime stories, you have read and you have seen movies, you have read a lot of crime stories, I'm sure. In absolute majority of crime stories, the criminal at some point in life will say, I don't know why I did it. Or they will say, I don't know what I was thinking. Now, what is the implication? What does it all mean? Is that most of our lives, we are driven by impulses. There is an impulse and we go act on it. But if this knowledge that we have gathered, that says there is Prakriti, there is Guna, and they are responsible for what kind of actions you do, and then those actions will have repercussions which are not in your control, and all of this science comes into play, then next time when you have an impulse to do something, question, pause. When you have an impulse to say something, question, pause. Sometimes you feel very angry. This common dialogues that happen between two angry people. One person will say something very negative, they will say like you are something, like you are mad or you are a fool or whatever. And immediately the response will be, you are a fool, your family is a fool, your whole... You see, but what is happening is, it is driven by impulse, So when something happens, we suddenly want to react based on impulse. There you have to pause. And you have to ask these questions very quickly. Like, what do I feel like saying? Why do you think I'm saying this? Oh, it is just my tamasic nature which is now being in the driver's seat, which is not right. For example, Buddha said this in different words, right? He said, ask yourself, whatever you are saying, is it necessary? Is it the truth? Is it beneficial? If the answer is not yes, then don't say. But what he's basically saying is the same thing. There's pause. So what I'm trying to tell you is, all of these lessons we are learning, it can become a way of life. If every day we live those lessons, then it becomes transformational. And that is all I'm trying to say. Just like the stories are good. But then once the story is done, at night at least when you go to sleep, you have to ask yourself, what was the lesson? And the next day morning, ask yourself, how much of it do I remember? And how much of it can I use in my life? And then see, the quality of life will go up and my stories will also increase. I promise. Okay.
Like in moral of the story, so we have to remember the moral.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, my dear Satsang family, and see you all again in the next session. Till then, stay blessed and try to be more mindful and put the teachings to work for your transformation. My blessings and best wishes.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Janmashtami to all.
Happy Janmashtami.
Janmashtami.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Happy
Krishna.
Janmashtami.
Hare Krishna.